What is up, everybody? Your boy SECFT back here with another Gamecock Talk with Gru episode. And this one, an exciting show. Guys, it is game week. It is freaking game week. South Carolina takes on Old Dominion this Saturday, 4:15 p.m. And because it's literally this weekend, a little late, sure, but we're going to go ahead and lock in our South Carolina Gamecocks football season predictions game by game. And I personally, fellas, I am very excited to lock in mine. And I think mine will have y'all pretty amazed. Not to spoil anything, but I think you guys will be amazed by it. And of course, joining me with always is Guru, also known as Gavin. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. How are you doing? Doing great?
Doing well. It's my God, dude, it's game week. We are
It's
so
finally
bad.
game
It's
week,
not
man.
even funny.
It may be late, but it's better late than never to do this, and I am hyped to do this. And I'm excited to share my predictions. And
Absolutely.
I'll say mine are like both surprising and both not surprising. Like there's gonna be some obviouses and there's gonna be some surprises in there. So I
Whoa, you
can't wait.
picked this team to you picked South Carolina to beat this team? You're delusional. I'm kidding, I'm kidding.
No, I picked us to win the national championship, man. Because you
Ah,
know
yeah,
we're gonna do that.
that's it. That's it, man.
Yep,
What
yep,
that's it.
yep.
That's it, bro. This
Oh,
guy
yep.
knows what he's doing.
I know ball. We know ball. We're winning
We
the
know
championship
ball,
this
bro.
year.
You
We're
you
going all
know.
the way. It's our year.
Yeah. This is gonna be a fun show, man, and I'm excited
Oh
to
yeah,
get
I'm
into
excited.
it. So as the guest of the show, I'm gonna let you go first.
All right.
How do
So,
you think South Carolina's gonna do this season, Gavin?
well, this season I think we could see it go either way. I mean, it's a tough schedule. I mean, that's easy to see. It's a very tough schedule. The schedule, I feel like the schedule doesn't really define the team though. Like you can do bad, but that doesn't mean that the team's bad because again they got a tough schedule. Listen, you're going to Alabama, you're going to Clemson, you got Ole Miss at home, same with LSU, you got A&M, you got all these tough games to play, and
Oklahoma, Ole
it doesn't like
Miss,
not
LSU.
yeah you can't guarantee that you're gonna have a great season with a schedule like this, and that doesn't mean the team's gonna be bad. I think this team's gonna be really good, but
Yeah,
will it mean that they're gonna like get 9 wins? Probably not. But I still think the Gamecocks can. I think they're gonna do better than they did last season because last season was pretty tough. It was a tough pill to swallow, and this season I think we're gonna do a lot better. I think
you
Lenore
can only hope.
Sellers is a lot better than a lot of people think.
Yeah,
Rocket Sanders is also really good, and I think he's being slept on because no one's really talking about him that much, from what I've
yeah.
heard. And the only thing I've heard about Nick Harbor is that he's a cheat code in EA Sports College Ball 25, and that's true. So hopefully he can do the same this season. But I think we're definitely going to do a lot better this season than we did last season. So week one against Old Dominion, I got us winning this, but it is not a cakewalk. This game reminds me of Georgia State from 2022. It is not a cakewalk. Old Dominion beat Virginia Tech, I believe, 1 year, and
Twice
Georgia.
actually.
Oh, really? Dang.
Yeah.
So like, and it was like similar with Georgia State because they almost beat Auburn. They beat Tennessee. They've shocked the world sometimes, and wouldn't be surprised if we see Old Dominion do that, but I do not see that as I see us going 1-0 to start week one. We could see a score probably like 38-17. I think we'll see one defensive touchdown. Not from special not I'm not we're not going to see two blocked punt touchdowns. This unfortunately. I don't think that's going to happen, but I still think we're going to score on offense. There's going to be jitters. It's going to be probably interesting at first. I think we're going to score first. We'll probably score twice and they might score because you know how first games have been going. Last year did not go well, but that was UNC, and the O line did not look good against Georgia State. But I think we'll see an improved team, but it's not going to be very pretty. It's not going to define what we're going to see the entire season. Your week one is not your week 8. Your week one's not your week 12. Your week one's not your bowl game if you make one. Your bowl game's not going. Your first game is not going to be what we see against Clemson. There are injuries, things change, there are lots of adjustments. It's the first game, but I have the Gamecocks on top.
Interesting point. And South Carolina Old Dominion, like you said, I don't think Old Dominion is a cakewalk by any means, but I don't necessarily believe that's the team South Carolina should struggle with, if you know what I'm saying. That's no shade to Old Dominion, but when you look at the talent for all South Carolina's deficiencies, they're a better team than Old Dominion, right? An SEC school just should not struggle with a team like that. But we've seen South Carolina unfortunately struggle to teams they should beat. However, I think South Carolina wins this game by 2 or 3 touchdowns.
Yep. I agree. I agree with you there. We could see that, but don't be surprised if we see some like first game jitters. But going into
For
week
sure.
2 at Kentucky, I think we'll see some improvements. This game could go either way, but unfortunately, I don't have us on top because it's a road game. We're at Kentucky week 2. I think Kentucky's going to be a little surprising this season. I think they'll definitely make a bowl game, but I'm not. I just don't think we're going to be prepared enough to win on the road at Kentucky. I could see this game go like 30-21 or so. I mean, they got great players. They got the Georgia transfer, Brock Vandegrift, I believe is his name. And they also have players returning like Barian Brown, who's a really good receiver and he's really fast. I just feel like Kentucky has that little upper edge. I mean, I'm sure they're going to have a chip on their shoulder from last season and the season before because South Carolina's had their number the last couple of seasons. We've been doing really good against Kentucky. And fortunately, I think that 2 game streak we have against them will come to an end. And it's a tough one because this is a must-win game for the Gamecocks if you want to have, I would say, a better chance of making a bowl game because it's a big blow if you lose this game. But unfortunately, I do have us losing this game against Kentucky for week 2.
Yeah, and to your point, man, when I say that this is a toss up, when I say that this is a tough pick, I mean, this is. I keep going back and forth on this one, man. I really do. You got two teams, both with two new quarterbacks. South Carolina, Lenore Sellers. Um, then Kentucky, Brock Vandegrift, transfer from UGA. South Carolina, the last couple seasons, has beaten Kentucky. It wasn't the flashiest game last year. South Carolina, the dynamic duo, Spencer Rattler, Xavier Legette, carried the Gamecocks to a win. And of course, an amazing defensive performance that night by the Gamecocks. This time it's at Kentucky. You got the home field advantage. Both teams, I believe Kentucky is going to be better this year than they were last year, but is it wrong for me to say that I think these teams are kind of similar in a way? I just think this is a very, very close game. However, when it comes to talent, coupled with a home field advantage, this is a tough one, but I'm going to give the edge to Kentucky. I don't want to. I don't like Kentucky. I really don't. But I mean, thinking about everything, I just not really confident in going with the Gamecocks for this one.
Yeah, I agree with probably everything you said there. I hate to say it, but I think it's the truth when it comes to home field advantage. Probably the physicality and just the talent that they have. I think Kentucky is on top with that. So I think Kentucky gets the win there. But for week 3 against LSU, I have us losing this game as well because if we beat Kentucky, I mentioned this in the last pod. If we were to win that Kentucky game, I think we would be winning this LSU game. But since I have us losing the Kentucky game, unfortunately, that means that it's more likely we're going to lose this game. So I unfortunately have us losing this game to LSU. You could see it like I think it'll be probably by 2 scores. I mean, LSU, they're a really good team. I feel like a lot of people are sleeping on Garrett Nussmeier. Um, and they got a really good defensive player. I think his name is Malik Murphy. I think. So, I mean, very good. They got. I think they don't. Last season they didn't have a great defense, but that's going to be a lot better this season. And I think that's going to be a key factor in this game is the defense. But I could see this game like 34-24. I think we will get points on the board. But if this is the LSU defense from last season, I think it's more of a shootout. But since it's more better, improved, and their offense is also good as well. And I think a lot of people are sleeping on LSU this season. So I don't have us winning this game. I think they're going to put up 34, unfortunately. because I think Nussmeier is going to be a really good quarterback that no one's going to be talking about before the season starts. Because so far we've seen that, but people will start to notice while the season goes on. I think he's going to do really good, and same with LSU. But do I have LSU as a playoff team? Probably not, but they'll get really close. Or if they're to make the playoffs, it would probably be high seed. But it'll be close for LSU with their schedule. But unfortunately, I do not have us winning week 3. So I have us starting out week 3 in the season 1-2 with the loss to LSU at home.
Fair enough. Fair enough. This one, I'm on the fence about LSU. And what I mean by that is, I believe they're going to be a great team, but I don't think they're going to be crazy, if you know what I mean. I don't think they're going to be setting the
Yeah.
world on fire. I don't think they're going to be anything too spectacular, but I think this is a team that's going to be like top 15, top 20 pretty consistently this season. I don't really have them making the playoffs, but this game for me is, man, this is going to be very controversial to a lot of people. I think this is a game that LSU could be in danger. If they are sleepwalking in Columbia, South Carolina, I think this is an upset watch game in a way. I don't know why. I got that feeling in my gut. I believe LSU is so much more talented than South Carolina. I believe in Lenora Sellers. I believe in Rocket Sanders. I believe in South Carolina. I think the defense will be better. The question is will the defense be able to stop LSU for me? Will we be able to score enough to beat LSU? Because I think LSU is going to score. I really do. And while I'm saying keep an eye out for this one, I just don't see the Gamecocks pulling it off, unfortunately. So I got the L, which makes the Gamecocks 1-2 on the season thus far.
Yeah, I agree. I do not see us winning that LSU game. But they could be a playoff team, but it also depends on how they start out. Like they have to play USC. Like if they start 2-0, I think they're definitely gonna win. But either way, they're still gonna be on upset watch. So because it's not easy to play at Williams Brice, but since it's a noon game, I think that's the reason why. That's the main reason that they're gonna win. So if it was a night game, I feel like it's a little different because the Gamecocks are really good for night games. But in my opinion, there's a difference with night games and noon games. The atmosphere is just different. Like Penn State wide out, and but when it's at noon, it's not as electric in my opinion. So anyway, moving on to week 4 at Akron, I think we're gonna win this game by a lot. So the Gamecocks will be 2-2. I could see this game like 59-10. I could see it like that. I think the Gamecocks are gonna dominate this game, coming off of 2 losses, and definitely a result that they needed because they need to get that second win. And because if you don't win that game, your season's basically over. I mean, there's no reason you lose this Akron game. Absolutely no reason you should lose this game. The Gamecocks should win this game, and it's as easy as that. We should beat Akron week 4. It's also a night game, so if we lose this game, oh boy, there's no reason we should lose to Akron. Akron's a simple W. It's very straightforward.
I'm just going to say win. That's all I'm going to say. There's no reason South Carolina should lose this game at all, and I don't think they will. So after that, we have a bye week. Then the three toughest stretch. Oh my God. Ole Miss at home. Then you go on the road for Alabama and Oklahoma before having another bye week. This 3 game stretch, this is brutal. I mean, absolutely brutal. Every single one of these teams will be ranked, let's be honest. Every single one of these teams are better than South Carolina on paper, at least. What are your predictions, of course, for this 3 game stretch? Because this one, we all know how brutal this stretch is. It's one of the most brutal stretches in college football. So go ahead and give your opinion on it, and I'll give mine.
Yep. I have us going 0-3 for the stretch. I unfortunately do not have us winning any of these games. It's probably the most brutal 3 game stretch in college football this season. There's brutal stretches like Florida, but that's a 5 game stretch. But in terms of 3 game stretch, this is probably one of them, if not the worst one that you could have on your schedule, no matter the team. Well, week 6, Ole Miss. Oh my goodness, the return of Juice Wells. They got Jackson Dart, Walter Nolan. Ole Miss, they're the king of the portal. Lane Kiffin, he's a great coach. They're just better physically, offensively, and defensively. They're just better than you. But I think it'll be interesting at first. The Gamecocks will fight. They'll make it interesting at first. They're coming off of what, a bye week? They're coming off of a bye week. That's the good news. The good news is that you're coming off of a bye week. That's why it's going to be interesting at first because they might surprise Ole Miss. Like we could see some trick plays. Not be surprised if we see like a flea flicker. Heck, throw in a Philly special. Who knows? But I think we lose this game, so we'll be like 2-3. But I could see this be like we'll probably be 38-20. We'll probably lose a game like that score. But next week against Alabama, I think this is a simple blowout. You're playing at Alabama. It's always hard. Like if not toughest task in college football is to go at Alabama. And no Nick Saban, but there's still Alabama no matter what. I have us losing this game, so that makes us 2-4. You can see the score maybe like 44-14. Probably get 2 touchdowns. That's probably the goal. Get at least 2 touchdowns. But there's no moral victory. You gotta do your best in the Alabama game, and I hope we make it close. But I do not see the Gamecocks winning this one any chance. Not even an upset alert either. But speaking of an upset alert for a road game that we could win, is at Oklahoma. So I unfortunately don't have us winning this game either, but it's definitely an upset watch game. I think this game is close the entire game. I think it'll be low scoring. I think both teams are going to play really well defensively. We'll probably see lots of turnovers, but at the end, I think I can see Oklahoma getting the win here, probably like 20-17. So I probably see. Um, yeah, I do not see the Gamecocks winning this 3 game stretch. It's a very brutal stretch, and it's very tough pill to swallow because that makes you what 2-5, I believe. That probably makes
Yeah,
you, yeah, 2 and
yeah.
5. That's not what you like to see, but that's what happens when you're in the SEC and when you have a tough schedule like this, man. It's not easy. So hopefully the Gamecocks can pull off an upset that game, but I don't see it because I think Jackson Arnold's great. I think Oklahoma's definitely. They might have been better with Dylan Gabriel, in my opinion, until he transferred to Oregon. But either way, I don't see us winning this game in Oklahoma, so that makes us 2-5, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I just don't see it, man. Ole Miss, I mean, of course, huge storylines here. The return of the Juice Wells, the big bad, the traitor. We've heard all the names. I mean, some interesting, wild stuff between Juice Wells and South Carolina. I think this is going to be an interesting game. Don't be surprised if South Carolina hangs around, but I think Ole Miss is going to outlast them. Alabama, I get it. Saban's gone. Everyone's ready to just give up on Bama. Everyone's ready for Bama to just fall off the world. But I don't think that's going to happen, guys. I don't think that's going to happen. At least not this year. I still think Alabama is going to be a really good team. Their coach is no joke. I really do believe Bama is going to be good. You go to their place as well. I just don't see it. Oklahoma now. OU is an interesting team for me this year. There's a lot of questions. I think they're going to be really good on the defensive side of the ball. How is Jackson Arnold? How is that OU offense? I think that's going to be interesting. I think if there's any game South Carolina can win out of these three, I think it's Oklahoma. But I'm not picking it. I think South Carolina's going to hang around in this game, in my opinion. But I do think Oklahoma is going to get the better of South Carolina and probably win this game by double digits. And then we go to a bye week, and then we host the Aggies for what's going to be a night game at Williams-Brice off of a bye week. What's your prediction on this one, Gavin?
I got us pulling off what could be an upset in this one. I have us. Also, I meant to mention in the last one, I could see the score 20-17 against Oklahoma. I could see it being close because I mentioned it was probably going to be a close game, an upset alert. So that was my prediction for the score for that one. But for this game, I can see us winning this game off the bye week, and it's a night game. It's a desperate game because the Gamecocks need to make that bowl game for the sake of Shane Beamer to not be on the hot seat in South Carolina. You could see the score be like what 24-17, probably by one touchdown. I think it'll be low scoring again. The defense is probably getting a lot better towards the end of the year, just like last season. That doesn't necessarily mean the offense doesn't do as well, but remember, your week 1's not going to be your week 10. So I got the Gamecocks winning this game 24-17 at home against Texas A&M in a huge, crucial game.
This is where my picks are going to start getting controversial for a lot of you. This is where a lot of you keyboard warriors are going to start saying we're delusional and we don't know what we're talking about because we're predicting a game. But Texas A&M, I know everybody's on the hype train, and Mike Elko, he's a good coach, and I believe he's going to have A&M rolling again. But I think it's going to be kind of a rough year one. Not very rough, but A&M's not going to immediately come out and set the world on fire, in my opinion. I think there's going to be growing pains, and I think South Carolina gets them here. I think South Carolina gets Texas A&M. Now, here's the thing: A&M owns South Carolina. The last time A&M came to Columbia, that was the only time South Carolina ever beat Texas A&M. And the only reason I think South Carolina is going to win this one is because I think it's a desperation game. If you lose this game, I mean, fellas, let's be 100% honest. You can kiss any chance of going bowling goodbye. I mean, you have to win this one. You win this game, you
Yep.
give yourself some hope. If you're coming off a bye week, it's at home at night. I think it's set for you. I think South Carolina gets this win. I have a gut feeling about this, and I'm gonna go with my gut. Gamecocks get the win over Texas A&M, and that makes you 3-5.
Yep. And I don't think Connor Wigman, that's who Texas A&M's quarterback is going to be. I don't think I don't think he's as good as people think he's going to be. Lots of people are saying he's going to do pretty well, but I don't think he's going to be that good. He'll be a solid quarterback, but I just don't think it'll be good enough for him to win in Columbia. He made an appearance last time he came to Columbia, but ugh, I just don't think it'll be enough, and I think the Gamecocks get a huge win. So next week against Vanderbilt, we continue owning them. I think we win this game by 3 scores. It'll be probably like 35-14. And South Carolina owns Vanderbilt. I mean, that's straightforward. South Carolina owns Vanderbilt. Home or away, this season it's away. It doesn't matter. South Carolina is willing to beat Vanderbilt, and there's no excuse you should lose this game. Vanderbilt may be better. I like Clark Lee. He's a good coach. But Vanderbilt, no. You cannot lose to Vanderbilt. I mean, they don't even have a home field advantage. The OA team outnumbers their home the Vanderbilt fans when they're at home. Even they have renovations. I don't know if they're finished or not, but still, that stadium is known for having the away fans outnumber the home fans. So not just that, but regardless, the Gamecocks will win in Vanderbilt, making 4-5.
Yeah, I mean, do I really have to say anything? South Vanderbilt has not beaten South Carolina since the dinosaurs were last on Earth, so I don't think it's going to happen this year. It's going to be 16 years straight. Unreal. I don't see it. I think it's another rough year for Vandy. They're the worst team in the SEC. Just think they're going to be again this year. So this one, a big game at home against Missouri. Needless to say, South Carolina against Missouri, it's basically turned into the new Kentucky streak. 5 in a row, 5 losses in a row to Missouri. You get them at home, potentially at night. This has to feel like a must win game here for you to make a bowl game. This has to feel like a must win. It's at home. Carolina is starving for a win against Missouri. We cannot stand losing to Missouri. We cannot stand losing to Missouri. I think Missouri's a far better team now than they were, but man, this fan base needs a win over Missouri. What do you think will happen, Gavin?
This is where I can get pretty controversial. I think this game is going to be a shootout. I think this is like the Tennessee 2022 game. Instead, it's a lot closer. I think Missouri's wide receiver Luther Burden's going to have a good game. I think Brady Cook's going to have a good game. But I think it comes to the last drive, and I see Brady Cook throwing a game-losing interception on the drive. That would probably would have won them the game. But I have the score being 39-31. I know it's a weird score, but I'm just trying to make it a little more realistic because you can never imagine how the scores are going to be. So I have us winning this. You could see in a shootout like 39-31. And I think this is a game that is huge. That would give you 5 wins, and then next week at Wofford, you have to win that game, and then you're bowl eligible. But I think the Missouri game, I think this is probably where people are going to call me crazy, and that's fine. But it's where it lands on the schedule. Week 12, week one's not going to be your week 12, like I've mentioned. I just think this is where South Carolina gets that one win that shocks everyone this season. And it's against Missouri at home. And the Gamecocks are now 5-5 with this win with 2 games remaining on their schedule.
You're absolutely delusional, Gavin. There is no way you picked South Carolina to beat Missouri. You don't know what you're
You
talking
heard
about. Get
me.
off the
You
internet.
heard me.
You
And
are
I know we're going to
stupid.
win
We
this
know
game.
how this. With that being said, I'm a major hypocrite because I got South Carolina pulling the upset. And let me tell you why
Woo-hoo.
I got South Carolina pulling the upset. This is coming off of a huge game for Missouri, an emotional game with Oklahoma. There was another creator that mentioned it. And the reason I bring this up is because it's a good point. And this falls in an interesting part of the schedule for both teams. This is after the Oklahoma game for Missouri, a rivalry renewed. It's going to be an emotional one, especially if you win. And on the South Carolina side, you beat Vanderbilt. If my prediction is right, or 4-5 right now, you win this game, you're going to beat Wofford, right?
Yes, absolutely.
You need to win this game to go bowl eligible. Because let's be honest, we can say Clemson's and you know what, but I mean, who's done the head really going to pick that one, right? It's just South Carolina knows that. I think they know this is a game that they have to win to save their season. Who in their right mind, what kind of idiot would pick South Carolina to beat Missouri? They haven't beat Missouri since 2018. There's no way that them Gamecocks are beating Missouri. Well, I'm picking it to happen. I think South Carolina beats
Me too.
Missouri. I think this is controversial, but I got it happening. Give me the Gamecocks against the Tigers, snapping a 5-game streak in Columbia. South Carolina against the Missouri Kitties.
Yep. And then we can just say we win Wofford and we are bowl eligible. And that's the goal. That's the goal. Be bowl eligible this season. And I think the Gamecocks do get that after the upset with Missouri because they're going to beat Wofford probably like 46-6 or something. So
Yeah, they're going to beat
win by
Wofford.
win by
Well,
40
we
and
could just
4.
end it there, honestly. We
Yeah,
think
man.
they're going to beat Wofford.
Yeah, yeah. There's what? No, no, we're not losing to. If we lose to Wofford, no way. If we lose to Wofford,
Nah.
goodbye to the staff, goodbye to the players. Everyone's leaving. Rebuild the entire team. Everyone enter the portal. Cut everyone. Fire everyone. We are not losing to Wofford at home. That is not going to happen. So, but I do think the Gamecocks beat Wofford, making them bowl eligible, which is a huge, huge game after the Missouri. Well, excuse me, not really a huge game because we know the Gamecocks are going to win that, but it's huge that they're now bowl eligible, and that's just great to see them bowl eligible again. But the week after that, I got Clemson. Unfortunately, I don't see them winning that game. I think that one's going to be low scoring, just like last season. I might see it like a 10-point game. I don't. I'm just like the LSU game. It's going to be a 10-point game in my opinion. Probably like 23-13. I think we'll score first, and then at halftime it's probably going to be 14-6. Excuse me. Yeah, like 14-7 or something. And I think the game ends probably like 23-13. We don't beat Clemson, unfortunately. As much as I hate to say it, I don't think we're going to win in Death Valley twice in a row because that is extremely hard.
Yeah, I hate picking us to lose to this team, but I'm going to be honest. I know everyone, especially Carolina fans, are just ready for Clemson to like completely fall off and just go back to being nothing. And I don't think they're going to be the national title team that they were, but they're going to be better than South Carolina. I think Clemson is going to actually take some steps forward on the offensive side of the ball. I think their defense is still going to be amazing. I just don't see South Carolina scoring enough to win that football game. Now, to your credit, you did beat Clemson the last time you went to Death Valley. But just because you did it 1 year doesn't mean you're going to do it another year. And unfortunately, I just don't have. I don't see it happening. I got Clemson winning that one. But the good news for me, South Carolina 6-6. They made a bowl game, and maybe, just maybe, that'll take some pressure off of Shane Beamer, just a little bit.
I agree. I think it'll definitely take some pressure off of Shane Beamer for sure. If you don't make a bowl game, I think it applies more pressure going into that next season. And then if we don't make a bowl game that would next season, if we don't make it this season, that's where I think they could pull the trigger. But I don't know, man. I really like Shane Beamer. I like that he reminds me of Ted Lasso a little bit. But you got to do what you got to do, unfortunately. And that would be the case if we don't make bowl games for the next 2 years. I think that's when Shane Beamer's got to go. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Gamecocks will make a bowl game this season. And this is just, I don't know who we play. I don't know what it's going to look like, what the roster is going to look like with injuries and opt outs. But this is just a prediction. I don't think we're going to win the bowl game. I think we'll make the bowl game, but I don't know if we're going to win the bowl game. So that would basically make us 6-7. So that's my final prediction. I think we're going to lose the bowl game. But all that matters to me for Shane Beamer's job is he made the Gamecocks go bowling, and they went 6-6, and that's all that matters.
Gavin, I appreciate you, man, coming on the show as always. This is a fun show. We're going to be back next Tuesday to recap South Carolina's Old Dominion game. It's going to be fun. Thanks for joining, Gavin, and I hope you have a good night.
Yep. Thanks to you too.